product from Uganda as a backbone of agriculture. And now we see the increasing cost of the purchase has become a nightmare, a challenge farmers have attributed to drought that has affected very many parts of the country where milk gets ripped out from. But we will be surely diving into this story shortly. And now let's go to Kampala. Traders operating from Chikubo Lane now that can enjoy safe, convenient and more affordable working environment ahead of the renovation completions. Now Chikubo is one of the busiest centers around Kampala Business District, bringing together thousands of people from different parts of the country. However, they have not been a better working environment. But now, with the reconstruction of the Chikubo Lane in Kampala that started a visit to the business hub by the State Minister of Kampala Metropolitan Affairs, that is Kabuye, and then the authority's Deputy Director, Engineer David Luyimbazi. Let's take a look at this.
Enkyukakyuka weeri amaanyi kubanga omuntu asobola n'okulindirako wano nga tafunyeemu buzibu. Enkyukakyuka weeri amaanyi.
Chikubo is one of the busiest centers within the Kampala Business District, bringing together thousands of people from different parts of the country for both retail and wholesale transactions. But despite its significance, it had remained dusty with multiple potholes, making its access almost impossible for both motorists and pedestrians, especially during rainy seasons. Traders say that business operations are going on well.
Balutandika wendi mu biseera bya COVID. Babuzayo wiiki nga emu oba bbiri okumuta okuggwako. Ne mu kusinziira ekifo kino nga kikunganya abasuubuzi abangi batikula ebintu bingi, omusolo bawa mungi, lwali mu mbeera mbi. Era kino ekyakolebwa kyayamba abasuubuzi. Emmotoka zireeta ebintu byabwe okuba nti zitikula nga tezigwa mu binnya, n'okuba nti gavumenti yakola kirungi okubaddizaako ku musolo gwe bawa okuba nabo bakolera mu mbeera nga nnungi.
The reconstruction of Chikubo Lane in the Kampala has started after a visit to the business hub by the State Minister for Kampala and Metropolitan Affairs, Kabuye Chofatogambye, and the authority's Deputy Director, Engineer David Luyimbazi. Upgrade in the central
enkuba we yatonyanga lwasombanga ettosi ne libeeramu nga mulimu ebinnya amazzi ng'ova eno n'omanya nti oba kanya katono n'ogwa mu kinyanga kinene ng'amazzi mwegali, oluusi nga n'emmotoka zirwana ku ddeene wakalu, kati nga olwedde tubeera waliwo okunyigirizibwa kwe tufuna nga tutambula. Ne kati baalukola emmotoka zisinganya bulungi era zipaakinga bulungi, buli omu n'afuna waayita, naffe ne tufuna we tuyita, emmotoka ne zipaakinga bulungi. Ne kati zonna tewaliwo ekwasa nti oba eri watono eno wanene, zonna buli epaakinga bepaakinze zisobola okuyisinganya obu.
Ekikubo kati kyakyuka ngeri ya paakingi. Luli wa paakingi sanga emmotoka ku dduuka ly'omuntu ng'omuntu alina waayita. KCC n'abakulu okuva ggulu ne bajja kusalawo ebintu ku mbalaza bibeere nga babijjako. Ng'emmotoka bw'eba epaakinga n'omuntu n'asigala ng'ayita ku dduuka n'asobola okugenda okufuna ebintu. Embeera bw'etyo gye tulimu n'amatunda baali agali bagala okuba nti gaasalibwayo, ekikubo kitangaala.
All along, more than 100 vendors in the Chikubo Business Center in Kampala Central Business District could be stuck following the eviction of their stores by Kampala Capital City Authority (KCCA) so as to reduce crowding. KCCA could evict all metallic and wooden stalls that had been erected on the verandas of shops in Chikubo, leaving vendors wondering how to.
Well, that one is a great expression from some of the traders around Chikubo, some of even the people or the dwellers around Chikubo who surely use it. And just this one is a concern from me. Most times when government comes out, or KCCA, even before when the construction was ongoing, you know, there were a lot of issues, people trying to say, why are they doing this when we're just coming out of the lockdown? We really need to access shops. But now look at what is happening. People are now expressing happiness and really giving attitude to what has been happening. That is taking it from KCCA, and still kudos from us to KCCA for organizing such, and we hope for the best and a better organized Kampala city. Now let's move on to the government through the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, which has also set to open the Lake Victoria Tourism Circuit as a way of improving the leisure industry. Now this was revealed by the manager of the Education and Information Department of the Uganda Wildlife Authority or Education Center. And the Wildlife and Antiquities is set to reopen or open the Lake Victoria Circuit project as a way of enhancing the industry. According to David Musingo, the manager, Education and Information Department at the Uganda Wildlife Education Center, education and information around the tourism industry, the activities that take along the route of Lake Victoria are one of the core bridges of the Rising Ugandan Flag, or Rising the Ugandan Flag for Better Destination in the World. Now UWEC secured fund for the World Bank to push up a project of that particular funding. And when you continue, the Lake Victoria Tourism Circuit project is worth shillings 706 million and will kick off in 6 months after the finalizing of the major master plan. Now the master plan will address the National Conservation Education Strategy for Uganda as well as the Ecotourism Project, and the National Outlook Master Plan will also bear the plans of arising from the Lake Victoria centers. Now according to the Education and Information Department Manager David Musingo, UWEC, formerly known as the Entebbe Zoo, is also about to acquire the luxurious boat that has a capacity to carry on 50 passengers with a speed of about 40 knots. And just lastly, UWEC is a bid in working with various institutions and training the community in order to reverse the negativity of trends spoiling the wetlands, that is to say the Makananga, and also the reshaping of the ecotourism projects around the country. And now we move on. Let's head into what's happening around the biogas sector. Now the biogas has seen a good alternative source of energy for cooking and lighting. And in Uganda, the use of biogas is an alternative source of energy, especially among those who have zero grazing units with the Frisian cattle or exotic goats. But according to Kule Justice, the operation manager at Kainza Energy, told Smart 24 that processing or making of biogas from home remedy and wastage of animals, pigs, that is from pigs or cows, are how mixing. They have a mixture of waste products in order to produce biogas very effectively. Take a listen at this.
Biogas is seen as alternative source of energy for cooking and lighting. In Uganda, the use of biogas as alternative source of energy, especially among farmers who have zero grazing units with Frisian cattle or exotic goats. According to Kalule Justus, the operation manager of Kainza Energy, told us the process of making biogas from home remedies and waste of animals like pigs and cows, and how to mix waste product in order to produce biogas.
We collect the waste from the point where we have the source, maybe piggery, maybe a kraal. So after having this waste, say cow dung, piggery waste, or waste from homesteads, we bring it then we have a system where we feed these feed stocks. After where we have a mixing chamber. This is the point of application where we mix this waste. After mixing it, we then open. There is a valve that connects now to the digester. We open there, and this mixed waste is able to go to the digester, where now the whole process takes place in the absence of oxygen. There are many enzymes that
You can feed your home biogas system approximately 6 liters of food waste or up to 20 liters of animal waste daily. An equal amount of water should be added within the waste when to put it into the inlet of home biogas. You can feed the appliance within the animal manure, especially that of any animal that chew its cud, like cow, goats, and sheep. The animal manure should be free of stones, straw, and earth, which will not break down in the digester. You might also add dog or cat without sand. We recommend the limited chicken droppings since they contain a high level of ammonia and will alert the balance of the digester fluid.
emphasize that water should be more of what? Of the cow dung. We have ratios. Like maybe we can say the ratio should be 1 wheelbarrow of cow dung and 2 wheelbarrows of water. Like not changing the ratios, that won't achieve the dream. Then the other don't is also the the conditions in which this process occurs. We need some sunlight, we need some pH variation. Then the dose is any waste that is organic will be able to give you biogas.
Olivia Kantimbabazi, Smart 24.
Very well, now we head into our foreign updates for this particular news hour, where now Coke in peril as a bottling business for Coca-Cola in the UK and Europe has become the latest under the supply chain pressure, as it is reported to shorten for the alumni cans. Now Coca-Cola, a Repific that has told the news agencies that it has faced a number of logistics challenges recently that also included sneezing on a lorry driver numbers. And now this comes after the Boss drinking giant Diego told the Sky News it was also battling globally with the supply chain difficulties related to shipping as well as logistics, but the procurement of the packaging materials remained steadily as well. Now Nick Jaining, the chief financial officer at CCEP, said the supply chain management has become the most important aspect following the pandemic, as well as ensuring that continuity of customers surely continues. But also the remarks at the company that operates in the Australia's most highly in Europe at 61%, that is rose half a year operating profit, driven by the easing of this earlier year's lockdown. And now moving on, China has announced plans to set up a very stock exchange to serve a small and medium-sized business. President Xi Jinping said the news market will also be in capital Beijing, where he said that during the speech of International Fair Trade in the service. Now, mainland China currently has two major markets based into the Shanghai financial hub and also the southern city of Shenzhen.
President Xi Jinping said that the new share market will be in the capital of Beijing during a speech to the International Fair for Trade in Services. Mainland China currently has two major markets based in Shanghai financial hub and the southern city of Shenzhen. The move comes as Chinese companies are under intense pressure at home and in the US. While President Xi did not elaborate on the plan, the China Securities Regulatory Commission, CSRC, published a statement shortly after his speech that said its leadership was excited at the prospect. The regulator said that the registration system for the exchange would be similar to Shanghai's star market, which is seen as China's answer to the technology-heavy Nasdaq platform in the US. The announcement comes as Chinese companies have been under increasingly close scrutiny by both Beijing and Washington. In recent months, Chinese authorities have announced a series of measures that have had a major impact on large parts of the country's private sector, from tech giants and tutoring firms to music streaming platforms and TV companies. Along with a huge swath of tough new measures imposed on companies, Chinese authorities have intensified their oversight of firms with share listings in the US. Last week, Chinese electric car maker BYD's had to suspend a plan to sell shares in its computer chip making unit, making it the latest share offering to be hit by Beijing's crackdown on businesses. Earlier this month, the Chinese government signaled that this crackdown would continue as it unveiled a 5-year planning outlining tighter regulation of much of its economy. Meanwhile, in America, the Wall Street regulator, the Securities and the Exchange Commission, SEC, said it will now require extra information from Chinese companies aiming.
And now we cross to India, where India's largest private employer, TCS, returns to office following the 18th month or 18 months after lockdown. Now, IT behemoth Tata Consultancy Service, TCS, which employs more than 500,000 people, and the country's very biggest or private employer, is gearing to return to office after 18 months of the lockdown. Take a look at the joy.
Some 90% of the company's staff in India have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 jab so far, as India's vaccine drive has picked up in the last month. Half the country's eligible population has been partially vaccinated. As COVID cases fall and restrictions are eased, several major IT firms, including Infosys and Wipro, are hoping to bring employees back to the office. And all of them know how this will unfold, but TCS plans to ask 80 to 90% of its employees to return, at least initially, before switching to a hybrid model of work, under which only 25% of its staff will work from office by 2025. India's IT industry employs a quota of 12 to 13 million people in the organized private workforce, and it has been an engine for economic growth in cities such as Bengaluru, Hyderabad and Pune, where TCS, Infosys, Wipro and others have built huge campuses for their offices. TCS alone has offices in 250 locations spanning 50 countries. The company says it's set to explore the logistics of hybrid work and what happens to its physical assets such as office buildings, or will it, like Google, introduce pay cuts for staff who opt to work from home permanently. COVID has forced the company to find ways to tap into talent across borders and deploy on projects world over. The company now plans to build the world's largest distributed talent marketplace on the cloud, connecting staff to jobs virtually from anywhere.
That is TCS there, Joyly, returning back to office or returning back to work after 18 months. And remember, it's employing 500,000 people. I can say it's a moment of hope for the 5,000 people. Or surely, is it even a moment of hope for them, or people have moved on? But nonetheless, this is a lesson for all of us across the globe. When we intend to go, for a break, what else do you do around there? Do you sit back and wait for that particular one to come back to you, or surely you move on with other things as you keep on awaiting? And I can say that good luck to the 500,000 people that are employed there around from TCS. Hopefully you can get your jobs back around there, but you should surely move on always in case there is a break, or in case there is unprecedented times like this of COVID-19 that has continued to show us lessons across the globe. Now that brings us to the end of our news hour right here on SNB. My name is Rita Kawanyoro. Coming up is Joram Sonko with sport on your screen.